We all dream. We dream every night that we drift off to sleep. Some people remember all their dreams, while others remember none of them, like they had never even dreamt. We all do it. It is something we all share. Each night we travel in our sleep and our imagination to another existence, until the dream ends or we wake up. Dreams have puzzled humans for centuries. Ancient civilizations believe they are messages from the gods or glimpses into the future. We aren't really sure what their purpose is for, but some of us know we can actually control our dreams. Have you ever found yourself in a dream, fully aware that you're dreaming? This phenomenon is known as lucid dreaming, a state where the dreamer gains control over their dreams, creating a world limited only by their imagination. In this state, the person in the dream can make decisions and alter the dream and environment at will. But what if it's turtles all the way down, and this reality is also a dream? Can we lucid dream in reality? I'm going to start with a story of one of my first lucid dreams. The dreams occurred on multiple different times, so there is multiple different dreams on different nights that I'd slept, but it all started with the first dream. In this dream, the beginning, it was nothing particular, it was nothing important. It was literally just me walking down the street where I lived at the time, and for some reason in the dream I thought about flying, or trying to fly. I don't remember exactly how it came about, but the thought was maybe I could try. And I believe I was alone in the dream. I may have been with one other person, but most of the other dreams I was alone, so I'm gonna assume I was alone in the first dream. It was all very detailed, and it was first person, so sometimes I would dream, and sometimes probably you do too, that you're watching yourself from a third person vantage. And I would say, usually when this happens, I know I'm watching me, but it doesn't look like me a lot of the times. And those ones, in this case, it was me. And so I didn't really see me. I was looking down at my feet, like from first person. And I was looking down at my feet a lot. In the dream, I had looked down and felt the pavement on my feet, and it was all very realistic. I could get the sensations and the sensory feedback from the ground to my feet, hitting the ground and all of this. And in the beginning of the dream, I thought, I always wanted to fly, and for just some reason it felt like I would be able to try it. And so in this dream, almost like in reality how you have these thoughts and then you try something, or you think you try something but maybe you talk yourself out of it, but it was almost like a conscious decision. And a lot of dreams are just sort of watching the events unfold around you, and you're participating in them, but not in any directed way. But in this dream, I'd say maybe it wasn't a full lucid dream, because I don't remember if I realized I was in a dream or not, but I was aware. I was aware that I could possibly try and fly. So what I did was, again, this is a very real sensory feeling. Like, I could feel my feet, and I could feel the pavement, I could feel gravity, I could feel it. It felt very, very real, almost more real than the real world. And so I started to begin to push up, almost like getting up into my tiptoes and trying to use the upper body and my entire body to lift off. And I don't really know how to explain it, but if you get on your tippy toes and try to lift off without jumping, without bending your knees and trying to get off the ground and just trying to lift off, almost like fighting gravity. Anyways, I kept trying this in my dream and trying this, and I could feel inside of me somewhere that I was just about there, just about doing it, and then I was able to actually lift myself off the ground very momentarily, about an inch or two off the ground, and became so excited and euphoric that I broke concentration and fell back down to the ground. And after leaving the dream, I woke and wondered if I could do it again. So on another night, I was in a dream again, and I began to it was somewhat similar, nothing particular going on, and I decided that I remembered within this dream that I tried to fly before, and I tried to fly, and it worked briefly. So in this dream, this is the first sort of lucid dream because I remembered a previous dream. It wasn't the first time that I've done this, but this is one that really sticks out. And because I remembered it, I did sort of know I was in a dream. Sort of. Anyways, this time I was able to get off the ground and maintain sort of hovering above the ground so I could stay up in the dream, and the ability to fly was a constant pressure up. Like I was constantly pressure up of intentionally moving my body up against gravity. So it is a consistent effort to stay off the ground. And this of course made it feel very realistic, that you don't just fly and or float, you have to constantly work against gravity. And so I was able to kind of stay above awkwardly, I couldn't really, it wasn't eloquent at all. I was hovering around the ground excited, but also trying to consistently keep myself off the ground, almost like it was the opposite or inverse, that if you were like hanging from a ledge, for example, you wanted to get back onto the ledge, like you're going to move your whole body trying to get up onto the ledge, even if you can't reach anything with your legs and your other limbs. So you're going to try and attempt to get up on the ledge. Not an exact analogy, but that's the kind of feeling. So basically that was it for the dream. And then again, I don't remember how many nights were in between these dreams. It was around the same time, and I was able to go back into another dream on another night. And I proceeded to get better at flying. I did the same thing, and again, it was the same mechanics. The same ability at this time. I was able to get a little higher. And I remember the first time where I was able to go up above the buildings on the street. And then I had to train myself, like, how do I get down? I went a little high, and as someone who's afraid of heights, it was a very interesting experience because I was doing it, and I was the cause of me flying. I wasn't as afraid as, well, maybe I was a little afraid that I couldn't control it, but there was a very real sense of real emotions too. Not so much of I can do whatever I want in a dream. This was not a fantastical where I can fly and zip around the world with no effort, knowing this is a dream. I can maybe walk through walls or anything like that. This is a very realistic physics-based dream where I was breaking the laws of physics, but in a seemingly realistic way, if that makes any sense. The next dream I was able to do a little bit more, and I started actually being able to fly around. I remember I got back up into the height above the buildings on the street again, and I was able to move in a direction that was horizontal rather than just vertical. And I started kind of flying around and exploring the city. And I remember going into a more residential area where there was a tree. And I remember at this point I had flown around a little bit, and again, it wasn't like zipping around like Superman. It was not slow, but I wasn't breaking any speed barrier records, and I wasn't floating. So all again, it was very physical intention. My body was directing myself as I was flying, but I was definitely faster than walking. So I remember going to this tree outside of the house, and I believe I landed on a tree branch, and that's sort of where the story ends. I was finally able to sort of fly around and achieve sort of what I wanted to do in that first dream. And then I had no further dreams about it since. But it still sticks with me, and every now and then I catch myself trying to recreate the first dream, and every time I try to recreate it, it feels exactly the same as in the dream. That I can almost get off the ground, and it feels like the barrier for me to doing so is not real. Now, we've all had dreams where we've had the more fantastical, and I'm assuming all of you had dreams or ones that are more realistic. As of writing this, I had just had a very realistic dream again. And this dream, which I want to say hyper-realistic, but it felt like a real event. And I saw a friend of mine who had passed away years ago. And it was like normal. It was in the current time, and he should not have been here or where I was. But we just interacted like all the times, like old times. And it was very emotional when I woke up. And his dreams, these types of dreams that feel very real as opposed to the more fantastical ones, it does tend to lend me to believe that dreams are more than maybe what science and psychologists have determined. Now, science hasn't really determined what dreams are, to be fair. Some say it's a memory dump and something to entertain us while you sleep, or to sort through old memories, etc., etc. But physics and science also wonders about the existence of consciousness, and whether reality is consciousness itself, whether matter is consciousness itself, and what exactly consciousness is. They also assume that there's multiple worlds. There's a couple things that I thought of in this and this line of thinking that maybe we're doing when we're dreaming is visiting multiple worlds, not tethered to it, but we get to go into these other worlds. Some of them more realistic, some are fantasies. I don't know, maybe there's different types of dreams. Maybe there are dreams that are just more for entertainment while we sleep, and maybe there's some dreams that we really are visiting an alternate dimension. Or maybe these are all different types of dimensions. Maybe there's different worlds that are very close to ours, and maybe there's more fantastical dimensions where the physics we know don't exist. I don't know. And I'm not here to make a video that tells you whether I do know or don't. But I wanted to make a video about this topic because lucid dreaming, we can retain our consciousness while we are unconscious, and it brings up an interesting thought for me. For if we can change things in our dream, and maybe we're not fully aware that it is a dream, but we feel like we can change it and then it happens. Because perhaps that little bit of unconsciousness influence is this can't happen, the disbelief, and what if without this disbelief, that's the reason why we could make the change? And what if in this what we call reality, we are actually in another dream? Maybe this whole thing is a dream, and if it is a dream, we should be able to lucid dream in this reality, because every dream has its own laws of physics. Even the ones that seem to have no laws of physics, there's still a box in there that you are able to play in. For instance, if it's completely fantastical, unless you're lucid dreaming, it would be difficult to actually change that to be the same dream to be more realistic. There always seems to be rules of whatever environment we're in, but those who lucid dream know that they can change those, so a lucid dreamer could make the fantastical more realistic. And I postulate that if we are in a dream in this reality, that our awareness and our minds were able to lucid dream, i.e., that maybe we could change the dream, change the rules, and change how it's happening, or what is happening. And it would merely be by making a decision. And doing that is we require, obviously, the mental capacity to throw away certain beliefs and throw away some of the rules. Whether this is possible or not, I don't know. But I thought it was an interesting perspective. And when we think about consciousness, and we think about some of the things that we may or may not be able to do, is the only thing stopping us our belief that we cannot do those things? Well, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps out a small channel like this. And if you'd like to see more content like this one, please let me know as well. I know things are a little bit different with this one. I just came up with the premise and wanted to share it. If you do, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.